All right, welcome to another lesson on subject-verb agreement for our grammar unit. Today we're going to talk about indefinite pronouns. So we'll review a little bit and then we'll get into this new idea. All right, so remember, when we're talking about agreement with subject and a verb should agree in number with its subject. Singular subjects take singular verbs. So if the subject is singular, the verb also has to be a singular verb. Look at this example. He washes the dishes. He is one person, it's singular, so the verb we use, washes, also has to be singular. A girl in the neighborhood plays in the band. We're only talking about one girl, she's singular, so we use the singular verb plays. Now remember, a verb also has to agree in number with its subject when it's plural as well. So plural subjects also take plural verbs. They wash the dishes. I'm talking about more than one person here. So instead of washes for a singular, we now replace that with wash, which is the plural version of the verb. They wash the dishes. Several girls in my neighborhood play in the band. In this case, we're talking about more than one girl, so we use the plural verb play. In the last example, we were only talking about one girl, so we use the singular verb plays. This also applies to verb phrases. So look at the examples here. He has been washing the dishes. In this case, the verb phrase is has been washing. That has to be singular because I'm only talking about one person, he. He is the subject. Has been washing is the singular verb phrase. They have been washing the dishes. In this example, I'm talking about more than one person, they, so the subject is plural, therefore the verb phrase also has to be plural. Have been washing the dishes. A girl in my neighborhood was playing in the band. One girl, so the verb phrase was playing is singular. Several girls in my neighborhood were playing in the band. Well, in that case, we're talking about more than one girl, so the verb phrase becomes were playing in the band. Okay, the number of a subject is usually not determined by a word in a phrase or a clause following the subject. Remember what I'm always telling you guys about prepositional phrases. The subject will never be in a prepositional phrase. So, the apartments across the street do not have balconies. Apartments is the subject, so we use the plural verb have. Across the street is a prepositional phrase, so it means nothing. It doesn't really have anything to do with determining which verb we're going to use. Okay, the subject will never be in a prepositional phrase. I can't say that enough. Eli, one of my friends, was late. Eli is one person, he's the subject, so we use the verb was, singular. Okay, this brings us to our next idea, the idea of indefinite pronouns. Anybody, anything, each, either, everybody, everyone, everything, neither, nobody, no one, nothing, one, somebody, someone, something. You're going to have to commit these to memory. There's no trick for this, it's just you're going to have to kind of remember these. Whenever one of these words is the subject of the sentence, all right, the verb that you use has to be the singular verb. All right, these are singular indefinite pronouns. These are plural indefinite pronouns, both, few, many, several. In these cases, you're always talking about more than one. So if one of these is the subject of a sentence, you must use the plural verb. There are some cases where they could be plural or singular depending on their meaning in the sentence, and we'll look at more of those later. But these could be treated, this is that rare case. If one of these is the subject, you may have to look at the phrase that follows it to determine whether or not you're going to use a plural or a singular verb, but we'll do more on that later. So let's look at a few practice ones together here. Each of the athletes runs effortlessly. All right, think for a minute. What's the subject of the sentence? Well, each is the subject, and it's singular. So we need the singular verb runs. Neither of the women is ready to start. So neither is the subject of the sentence. That's singular. See, this would confuse some people because they think we're talking about more than one women. Women is plural, but women is part of the prepositional phrase of the women. So the subject has to be neither. That's singular. So we use the singular verb is. Were both of the games postponed? This one's a little bit tricky because we've kind of flipped up the subject and the verb here. Take a minute and think about what the subject of the sentence is, and remember, the subject will not be in a prepositional phrase. Right, the subject is both. Both is a plural indefinite pronoun. So we use the plural verb were. Several of the runners are exercising. Think about it for a minute. What's the subject here? It's not runners. Of the runners is a prepositional phrase. So the subject is several, and several is plural, so we use the plural verb are.